Man, these last couple of weeks have been like time for all the weddings, virtual and real.
We are live. Let us know when you can see and hear us.
Well, I figure for the second question, are you going to lean more towards the Warcraft stuff?
All right. And Max says he can see us.
Can you?
I think we can do that with everything we want, honestly.
Yep.
You know, because it's just general music discussion.
Yeah. Well, that's why I made sure to put some non and stuff in there so that, we have a bit of variety.
All right. McCullough, you're leading this circus, so whenever you're ready.
But the vodka hasn't hit yet from the mule. I guess we could wait. All right. AIE Podcast starting in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. On this episode of the AIE Podcast.
As the Summer of Love wraps up,
we have lots of video evidence.
And so much wow news.
Fly me to the moon, fire.
That we talked about you singing, right? All right, I gave you the option there. Okay, and we have Captain Sybil's STO update.
All that and more coming up right now.
AIE theme.
And I stole Mew's line. I am so sorry, Mew.
It's okay. I stole it back.
You know what? Our names all start with M. It's fine. All right. Well, did you want to do this part since I stole your line earlier?
No,
go ahead.
Okay, good.
Everybody together.
All right. Welcome to episode 281 of the podcast celebrating you, the Alea Octa Est gaming community. The die has been podcast. This is McCullough. And to my virtual left is Tetsumi.
I have spreadsheets for everything, including character leveling, because so many alts.
This is known. And to my virtual right is Mewcow.
Greetings, gamers.
And this week we have our Summer of Love wrap up. And, we're going to be talking to ourselves. So, welcome. So, when we do a host show, we kind of change things up a little bit. So, we're going to be digging into what we've been doing in game later. But first, let's talk about this week's news.
AIE News.
For anyone that missed the Summer of Love activities and wants to see what occurred, please check out the forum post that the herder of cats, the wonderful Cyrene, has been keeping up to date. There are lots of activities across all the games that AIE is in, with the last event running earlier today in WoW with the Transmog Gear and Pet Swap Meet. Thank you to everyone who's participated in the Summer of Love events throughout all the games that AIE plays in. If you missed some of the events, there are videos that can be found by our wonderful guildies. Ryushi was wonderful enough to do one for Final Fantasy XIV for Remembrance. In WoW, everyone's favorite former pro wrestler Joey Image did both Running of the Beast and Remembrance Day. And a lot of hashtags going on as well. If you go on Twitter, look for hashtag AIE Guild to see all the great images and screenshots that people took.
And in WoW news, there was a live Q&A with Ian Hazakostas over general WoW topics. Don't worry, no spoilers. And some 7.3 specific information. Again, no spoilers. It does look like Legion is becoming more alt-friendly, and some catch-up mechanisms are in place for those just hitting 110.
Really? Really?
All right.
Yeah, that was like, okay, did anyone get the number of that bus? If you weren't watching, you just glared at me.
I think it's
Yeah. The time gate for the third relic slot will automatically be removed in 7.3. In addition, players will not have to do the Broken Shore questline to unlock Concordance of Legionfall and other new traits on the weapons. They will automatically be unlocked. So this is good because I just hit 110 on my Warlock and having to juggle, okay, this was a 7-1 class hall stuff that needs to get done. This is the 7-2 Broken Shore Isle stuff that needs to get done. And you kind of can do some of them in parallel, and you can't do others until you unlock certain ones, and it gets really confusing. So just having this all open when you hit 110 will be really nice.
Especially the fact that you had to do it for every single weapon on every single alt, which was just...
Yeah, exactly. It was like, oh, I want to put weapon artifact power into this weapon, but I forgot to go do the attunement quest. Okay. So that'll be nice. Also, artifact knowledge is getting changes and will be global across all the players. The week of the patch, all players at 110 will be at artifact knowledge 41, and then it goes up 1 point per week until it hits 50. So 10 weeks in, everyone will be at artifact knowledge 50. If you start like 4 weeks in, you'll be at artifact knowledge 45. So yeah, it'll be really nice. Also, don't forget about your followers. There will be new missions, equipment, and chests on Argus that can shoot champions all the way up to item level 900, and then you level them from there to the cap, which will be 950. Also, for those that remember Tanan Jungle and the reusable augment rune at Exalted, they are coming to the Exalted Army of Light, the Light Forged augment rune. Once you hit Exalted, you can go over there and grab that. Also, if you have nether shards, go ahead and spend them. There's no point in hoarding them. That vendor will move to Argus and will sell 910 gear with new currency that's over there. So you can't take your nether shards to Argus and and expect the new 910 gear. There's a new currency coming. So
I want nether chunks, not nether shards.
Right? I know, exactly.
Hey, Tet,
Yes.
if you got your 17th alt, which is my preferred character class, to level 110, I might just, rely on you to teach me how to play my class.
That was part of the point, yes.
And part of the plan. Anyways, it's all going to plan.
Exactly. All right. So, Mew, what's going on in Final Fantasy XIV?
Well, coming up this week, starting on Tuesday, we have the Moonfire Fair. The quest begins in Nimsa Upper Decks, and you can get a full seasonal outfit and some housing items while the event is live. Essentially, bathing suits, even for the guys. So even the guys get their own.
Are they Speedos, or are they like bikinis or monokinis, or?
Now for the guys, they get the board shorts, but they do give them their own version of a bikini top, which is interesting. So everybody gets a bikini top.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right then.
All right. So that'll be interesting. Also, let's move on to SWTOR news. The SWTOR Escape Podcast, episode 205, To Merge or Not to Merge. This week at AIE SEMA and at Max the Gray and Astromech EPC 205 talk about the current server merge discussion, pros and cons, ways to merge, alternatives, and their views.
And it's a really good discussion because one of the issues on Star Wars right now is that if you go to queue for like the Starfighter or Galactic Starfighter or the PvP stuff, you actually have to go into general chat and say, hey folks, let's queue for this, and try and get people's attention, because some of the lower population servers, there's just no one to queue. And they Max and SEMA get into a discussion of things like cross-realm servers, like what we have in WoW, and the advantages and disadvantages of it. Things like when you if you just merge the servers, then you get the whole naming issue over again, which I know actually caused a few people to leave the game because they lost their legacy name when they first did the service mergers. So it's a very good discussion, and there is no easy answer. Otherwise, they probably would have done it by now. So
yeah,
but go listen. It's very good.
1 second at the top of the document.
Okay.
All right, and actually the middle of the document, because I was at the bottom of the document filling in some of my answers for later. All right, and in Star Trek Online, we have just a quick update from Gribbus on the forums. They have completed the required work to start the Starship Tier for upgrades. This will unlock many more fleet ships for everyone to purchase. And once they've completed the shipyards, he believes they'll be able to upgrade the starbase to tier 4 as well. He may hold a starbase. He may hold on to the starbase tier 4 to keep resources flowing into fleet ships, combustibles, so everyone can buy consumables. Wow! So everyone can buy their desired fleet ships. The research lab is also making big progress for those 2 branches nearing completion, as well as the other branch that's halfway through tier 3. So you know how we always, Sybil always puts in that we're always looking for contributions for materials and personnel for Star Trek Online. Here we go, guys. This is what happens with those donations that you guys give. So awesome. And we also have Captain Sybil's Star Trek Online news summary for the week ending in 8/6/2017. Yes, Max, language advisory, because this is what happens when a very, very exhausted McCullough has a meal before podcasting. At least I didn't write it. All right. And before today's news, on Remembrance Day, which is August 2nd, 2017, Captain Sybil, representing the AIE fleet, paid the AIE fleet's respect to the guilds fallen at the Eternal Flame Memorial on Earth's Starfleet Academy, the Spock Shrine on Vulcan, the Spock Shrine on New Romulus, and finally the AIE's Fleet Starbase. Yes. Captain Sybil is humbled and truly honored to remember this awesome community and gaming family. She did actually post her pictures in Discord, I believe, under the general AIE conversation that we were having on Remembrance Day. For the news, the Star Trek Online staff is attending Star Trek Vegas for the 30th anniversary of Next Gen. Oh my gosh. I remember watching that as a sophomore in high school, and the next day all of us sitting in the quad discussing it. That's crazy. Wow. However, Starfleet Leakers has supplied some interesting tidbits. Season 14 Emergence will launch on October 18th, featuring the newest edition of the cast. Ooh, LeVar Burton! He'll voice the character he portrayed and made famous on Star Trek, the wonderful Geordi LaForge. The exciting trailer for Season 14 and beyond has been posted. On September 12th, an introductory episode of the upcoming Season 14, Beyond the Nexus, will allow players to accompany Captain LaForge in investigating a distress call from the Galaxy-class starship with a mysterious emergency. See the Star Trek Online website for details. Season 13.5 launched on July 18th with a new feature called Brushfire. Wow. The last of 3 weekly rewards for playing the episode has been posted to the website. The famous Phoenix Lockbox has arrived for the week of August 3rd through August 10th. Players will have a chance to turn in their spare summer event gift vouchers for starships, new equipment, weapons, game tokens, and much, much more. The website lists them all. Or you could probably bug Sybil on Twitter. She'll let you know all the information. She's amazing that way. And now that you have all those nifty upgrade tokens from Phoenix Lockbox, coincidentally, there's also an upgrade weekend. Captains will earn double technology points for upgrading their weapons and equipment. And, as always, AIE's Fleet Starbase is looking for contributions of material and personnel. Please check all the notes, backstories, patch notes, forums, and other goodies at the Star Trek Online website. And until next time, Captain Sybil says, live long and prosper. Now, I do want to say one thing that you're reading this information, and what we always see coming from Star Trek, I love how the actors that were involved in the series tend to also be very much involved with the online game and extending that community. It's gorgeous, and I think it's great for those of us who enjoyed the TV shows to know that they love it probably even more than we do, and how they get involved in this.
Yeah, it was a big part of their lives. It makes a lot of sense that they'd want to still be part of it.
Yeah, and very much the actors amongst Star Trek seem to really do have that that sense of family, which is great because AIE is the same way.
Yep.
And speaking of family, in Guild Wars 2, guess what? We have a guild hall. The Roger Ralph White Guild Hall was officially obtained thanks to the diligence and perseverance of the Guild Wars guildies. Here's a brief description of what it took from DG on the GW2 board in Discord. For those not familiar with the fight, allow me to recount the epic tale of how we cleared the Guild Hall. And yes, you have to clear the Guild Hall to earn it. You start off in the Lost Precipice map, which is a huge area both horizontally and vertically. A single Modron Maw spawns on the map with 2 Modron Maw vine tenders and various other mobs nearby. You have a limited time, about 3 to 4 minutes, to get to the Maw, kill the 2 vine tenders, then kill the Maw. If you fail to kill the Maw within the time limit, the air toxicity rises and a new spawns elsewhere. You lose 5 times, everyone dies, and you start over. You have to kill 5 Maws. Once you kill them, a Vine Warden spawns in the middle, and you have a few minutes to down him. Once you do, you win, and the Guild Hall is yours. And in his opinion, it seems like the first part was far harder than the second part of it. So
Yeah.
I'm just glad that they got it open in time for Remembrance Day, or right at Remembrance Day, and good job, folks.
Yeah. Definitely. Bravo.
That was pretty hard because you had to have a glide, which is a level 80 thing that you have to earn. Like they don't just give it to you. And, they don't have mounts in the game really.
Right. So if you wanted to get from the top down, you had to glide down.
Yep. That's you had to have that to make it to the stuff in time. So you couldn't even start it without it.
And DG also mentions in the Discord chat room that they are getting an expansion called Pacifiers in September. There'll be a couple weekends where some of the features will be previewed to all the players, and it will be free to play or also for free to play players to see as well. So if you have Guild Wars 2, make sure you hang out in the GW2 channel in Discord and join the guild.
All right. In Secret World news, or Secret World Legends, as it's now called, looks like we have some pre-Tokyo opening content that was just released for Legends. The Dreaming Dark event, aka the Flappy Raid, I didn't know about that, is going on before the Tokyo re-release. So everything that's been released is almost re-released. I mean, say you took a break, there's content that is now available for free in Secret World Legends. Just nothing in Tokyo. Those scenarios are there, but that involves the Venice map, and with the Group Finder tool, you can experience that content without actually setting foot there. There's also information on the Whispering Tide event on the official site. Essentially, part of what this was kind of poking at is that when they re-release, they're kind of re-releasing the same maps and areas that the original Secret World has. And Tokyo was kind of delayed because the original version of Tokyo that was in Secret World, people weren't as happy with it as they wanted. So they said, you know what, we're going to take some time and we're just going to rework it and make it actually a lot more fun, a lot better. So that's kind of why they delayed it. And that's why people are going to kind of poking fun. It's like, where's Tokyo? Wasn't it already done? It's like, well, we want to make it better for you. So that's part of what's going on there. To continue, the scales have tipped. The filth has entered Agartha, threatening the world tree itself. Shadows the size of planets gaze upon us and prepare their winged harbingers for invasion. Darkness is upon us. The Whispering Tide has arrived. Following the latest events from the main story, the portal to Tokyo is overflowing with filth, blocking access and heralding the unkindness of birds of the 0 Point pathogen into Agartha. You, the agents of Gaia, are the only ones that can stem the tide. So for those that are uninitiated, Agartha, the world tree, is kind of like the interior of the planet. It's like the life force of the planet. And we use it to travel around, basically, if we want to go from country to country. But as the beginning guy says, you're basically walking across the world with just a brisk walk. Well, for the filth to be actually making its way into Agartha is sort of a big deal. So that's why they're making a big fuss about this.
Yep. And they've redone, for those that didn't play or did play the original game, they've redone all the tutorials, and everything is
good.
Everything is explained a lot clearer, and how you do weapon upgrades, how you pick skill points. It's all explained, through quests and through requirements in the game. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, essentially, a lot of people were turned off when they first played Secret World because the game literally just lets you do whatever the heck you want. It's like, here's every possible skill, here's every possible weapon, you figure it out. And a lot of people did, but a lot of people were like, I kind of want some structure. Maybe this game isn't for me. Well, they kind of picked up on that and said, okay, these two weapons work well together. These two weapons work well together. These two weapons work together. And then here's your skill tree. This is what you need to actually make it useful. So you still have that freedom. You can go through and get every single weapon you want. You can still get every single skill you want. But they now have these very clear paths, and it makes it a lot easier.
And the skills group together. So not only like with the gunslinger that I picked, he has a shotgun and a pistol, and they group together and synergize together as well, so that they work well together. I remember my previous gunslinger had a shotgun and a sledgehammer, and you'd use the sledgehammer up close, you'd use the shotgun for longer range, that sort of thing. But it works out a lot better now. You use the pistol. You use the pistol in close or for really long range targets if you can aim well, and then the shotgun's the medium range stuff or spread damage. So it really, the redone interface and everything, it really works together. And it looks like from the forums that Radozato's starting to post again on there. So I think he's playing, and we're going to see if we can spin up a guild in the new Legends and get everyone active again.
Yep. And for those of you that have cosmetic stuff that you earned in Secret World, you'll want to jump in now. I know eventually, I think by the end of this month, they're going to turn the feature off. But you can essentially copy everything you've earned except for titles. But you can all the clothing and stuff that you earned in that game,
and all that.
Yeah, pets, mounts. Not the. So I don't even know if they're going to bring in the extra special weapons. I forget what they called them.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do with those.
Yeah, they haven't really talked about them at all. Like, because it was like chainsaw and some kind of a weird blaster orb thing.
Yeah.
I mean, so we don't know about those, but anything that was cosmetic, they're letting you copy over to your new account. So you'll want to do that now before it goes away.
Exactly. So, but yeah, it's fun. It's free to play. Download it. Try it out. It's all good.
Awesome. So, any more news for us to report, or should we start discussing what we've been doing in game and talk about some of our topics of the week? All right. So, Tet's choking over here. So, Mew, what have you been doing in and out of game?
Quite a few things. So, I mean, as we were just talking about, I have been delving back into Secret World. It's always been an interesting game to me. I did participate in the what do they call it, the augmented reality game. So
right.
Yeah, so you were able to earn some fun shadow weapons, and so I did a little bit of that. I was also playing some Guild Wars 2. I oddly enough, I never got around to playing the Heart of Thorn stuff, so I was doing a bit of that with my character. And also trying to earn that glider, because you do have to earn it. You also have to earn languages and stuff like that. So, other than that, lots of Final Fantasy 14. That's probably the bulk of what I've been up to this week is Final Fantasy 14, and a bit more of Zelda Breath of the Wild. That game is my current Fallout. Or the big addictive game that I keep going back to. That game is definitely very engaging, to the point of I have to make sure what time it is, or else I'll stay up too late playing it.
Right.
For those that are familiar with the game, I have 3 Divine Beasts down. I'm kind of saving the last one just because I have a personal house now. I've started Terrytown, and I have the Master Sword, so I have a lot of fun stuff.
Yeah, I just got to the first Blood Moon phase, and finding the people along the way aren't all merchants that want to help you out. Some of them are actively trying to kill you, and so I'm doing that. I just I'm going to the second village right now.
Mhm.
Have a horse. It's a lot of fun, but I can totally see that you will completely get Bethesda on this and just like, oh, I'm supposed to be on the main quest, but look at all these side quests and look at all this
Mhm.
area to explore and look at all these bright shiny things. Oh, there's a shrine over here. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I love the shrines though, because
Mhm.
I'm the one I just did was the one where you had essentially the old ball maze where you had to balance it and turn it sideways and things like that. And there's a treasure chest actually inside that maze. So once you get the ball out of it and unlock the gate to finish the shrine, if you tilt if you tilt it just right, you can actually run, glide, land at the bottom of the maze, work your way up to the treasure chest, which has a really nice bow in it, and then work your way out to the exit of the maze and jump over and glide down to the other side. And my daughter's like, oh, so that's how you did that, because she loves to watch me play. And she's also she calls herself the voice of reason. I say she's the no fun voice, because
in most families, this is the opposite, right?
I know.
Yeah.
But it's like, look, a cuckoo. And she's like, no, don't. No, don't. I'm like, but no.
No, those are really useful for gliding. Actually, those are fun.
Yeah, I've heard that. Well, there was a goblin camp nearby, and I wanted to pick one up and take it over there and have them hit the cuckoo, and then all the cuckoos attack them. But no. So
it's a valid use of game mechanics.
it is. It's great. I've seen it. I saw somebody take one of the earthworms, drag it all the way over to a guardian, and have the guardian and the worm fight, and all kinds of fun stuff. But yeah. So right now I'm just trying to survive and not die too much and not hit all the mining nodes along the way, because it's like, oh, look, there's stuff over here. Oh, look, there's stuff over here. And you just get off the main path. So
oh yeah, wait until you get to the actual place where you can mine like crazy, and you're just going through sledgehammers like mad.
Yeah, exactly.
You're also rich. But
no, exactly.
yeah,
The weapon breaking mechanic right now is starting to drive me a little crazy.
yes,
But there's so many of them that, it's like, but I really like this sword. And then it's like, but don't use it. And I'm like, well, no, because if I just sit there and save up the weapon, I'll never use it. And then by the time I use it, you don't want it. So I'm just using everything. I'm just like,
good.
Yeah. The thing that I've found useful is there are certain weapons that you can pick up over and over. So I've started marking those. So I always know where a sledgehammer is. I also always know where a woodcutting axe is, stuff like that. And if you've met the Korok leader, you may not have. He's hard. You're supposed to stumble across him, but he's one that you may accidentally, like the first time I should have seen him, I glided over him, not even knowing he was there.
No, he's there because he's the one that wants the acorns or the beads.
Little
beads. I've met him and started taking him stuff, so he's increasing my inventory and that sort of stuff.
That's it. Yeah, once you start doing that, it really helps a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, then you can, and then also opening out the house, getting the house is a big help too, because then you can store stuff in it. Not a ton, but you can store stuff in it. So put anything that I know that I'm going to need later, I've started storing. So
cool.
But yeah. That game can definitely, you can just go down a rabbit hole, and it's like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to save this world, aren't I? Oops.
Exactly. Sorry, Calamity Ganon, I'll get to you in a minute. Just sit over there. I got stuff to do over here.
Yep. And speaking of saving worlds and back to Final Fantasy XIV, I think that game has captured my altitis, much as you've been going crazy in WoW. I kind of have just really settled into liking the way that Final Fantasy XIV does it, because with your one character, you can go altitis like crazy.
Right.
And it's kind of useful in that way, in that the stuff you've earned isn't, it's like, oh, that level 50 thing, now I have a level 60 thing. Well, not that big a deal, because another class you're leveling might be able to use that really awesome level 50 thing you just picked up.
Right.
So,
yeah.
So that's, it's kind of cool that way.
I kind of wish some of the like the relics were account bound as opposed to soul bound, because it'd be nice to pass some of those relics, like, oh, here's a 850 relic, but I'm I have a 910. Well, vendor that,
Right.
So. Yeah. Yeah, they're useful for transmog or for getting some extra points if you do turn-ins and whatnot. But I'm actually working on one of the relics for my bard just because I want the super fancy looking weapon. Even though I have something that's a whole expansion newer than it is, but it's still neat looking. And as far as that the problem that SWTOR seems to have with dungeons and whatnot, Final Fantasy kind of with the WoW way of doing things, and so. Even though the guild has moved to Goblin, which is, or at least was a smaller server, we have cross-server stuff. So we can do the dungeon finder and have no trouble, especially if you're a tank. If you're a tank, it's instant queues for whatever reason.
I saw that earlier. Tanks and healers seem to be insta queue right now.
Every now and then I'll see a healer queue, but it's almost every day I see it's like tank, and unfortunately my tank isn't high enough to get all of the roulettes. I can get like 3 of them, but I'm working on that. But yeah, I like the way that they do alts in that game. Even the crafting and gathering alts are just so much more fun. It's I've actually been spending a lot of time leveling my mining and gathering my botanist classes. Again, it's not it doesn't feel like a grind because of the way they have it set up. You're not just running out and like most games, the way you level up is you're pecking away at a node, or like WoW, you can kind of speed it up by melting ore down, or doing a quest that might give you some points. But it's like no, they actually give you just like the battle classes, you can actually get a full on scenario. It's like, oh, you need to do this thing. Oh, we need you to chop down these diseased trees over here for something cool, and they give you a story, and it's distracting you for the fact that you're just pecking away at something, and it's kind of nice. Cool. Yeah, so that's cool. I don't know, it's got my attention lately.
Awesome. All right, McCullough, what have you been up to?
4'10".
Mm-hmm.
Joke's getting old. Okay. Well, we So as we know, Summer of Love started last Sunday in AIE, and we actually were at the real-life Summer of Love event in Vegas. 2 of our guildies who actually ran New Braid last night, Dan Kinia and Elgarth had their wedding. They were already married. They did a courthouse wedding a few months ago where I got a text so I wouldn't find out via Twitter. However, they wanted to have the official ceremony, so we actually went to Vegas and saw them get hitched, and I was the maid of honor, and it was a very well-themed wedding. The colors were red and black. The bride wore red. Yes, the invitations were WoW based. Yeah, that was the letter for the invitation, and there was a sword for one of the favors that came with the invitation, and a hearthstone, and it came via Wyvern mail. Ted's showing this all off. It's awesome.
Yeah, he has to say something for it to go big screen.
Yeah, and the what do you call it? The RSVP looks like you're accepting a quest. So it was a lot of fun. The cupcakes had the blue cupcakes had question marks on them for quests. Yes. So Ted's doing great here, giving us the visuals. So that was our Sunday. And because it was also a geeky wedding, SWTOR was represented, and we had our flowers in lightsabers, and there may have actually been a lightsaber fight in the little chapel at the Excalibur. So that was a blast. So that was the physical manifestation of the Summer of Love occurring, I think, actually around the same time that the wedding happened in Final Fantasy.
Yes. So yeah, I think it was about the same time.
Yeah, it was an open bar, unfortunately, or fortunately. So 2 of our friends tanked the bar, and there was a lovely drunken game of Cards Against Humanity because it was a board game reception. That was a big part of my activities as of late. So, you know, I tend to be the one that likes to roll physical dice when it comes to my gaming. So Thursday night, we didn't have enough people on to do our normal game. So we have a secondary game where you basically have a variety of characters you can roll in and roll out. It's the Yawning Portal campaign. And there's an old expression when it comes to D&D and low-level monsters about kobolds, which is they're fine until they swarm you. And they swarmed us. And yeah, luckily you don't get attached to those characters because they're now either captured or dead. And they can't come back for like 2 sessions. If you die, you can't come back until later. It's fun. There's no attachment to your character. It's a blast. So that was my Thursday. Friday, we had a very, very short game of our regular D&D campaign, but it was memorable.
Lying.
Oh, yeah, because the gold dragon we were working for was a little too of the lawful good part of lawful good, and was actually, we were conned. And he intended to capture all of the dragons to try to bring balance, to bring good to the world. And when Tiamat and Bahamut came to have a chat with us about what we were doing, the gold dragon then showed up and sucked them into the dragon totem and realized we had been played. So that was, literally, we played for about an hour and it was devastating.
Good times, good times.
Yeah, and then we had the offer to look into the waters of truth to find out which way we should go with this. And my Cthulian warlock was told, yeah, I don't want you looking there. You don't need to know what the truth is. So yeah, it was great. Working on some podcast stuff. I'm actually, a friend of mine and I are actually about to probably launch a new podcast this week called Mothers of Geeks. So general geekery and trying to balance being geek moms in this world. And hey, we should probably have Mrs. Mew on as a guest someday because she balances it well as well. So that's what I have been up to. And as we've been referring to, last week was the Summer of Love. So Ted, what was your favorite part of the Summer of Love?
Do I get to talk about what I've been up to?
Yeah, I was wondering that myself.
I thought you were. You went
he
to
was
me.
choking to death.
All right. You know what, Ted? What have you been up to in games? So you went right to me, and I have,
I know.
Okay, what have you been doing, beloved?
What I have been doing is alting in WoW. I got my warlock up to 110. I did level it as demonology, so I can help you out with demonology, which is, as we discussed in the FERT channel. Yeah, exactly. It's you throw out all these demons, and you would think there would be tons of damage going up, but it's all these demons, and there's a ramp up period as you build up to, as you build up the damage and stuff like that. So once you you okay over there, Mew?
What was it? Mew, what are you doing?
I'm throwing into things.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, because you start out with your normal demon, and then usually right away, because you have 3 crystals, you'll call the 2 fellhounds out, and then you have to do some single target damage to build up more fell crystal or more crystals, and then you can throw out more demons with Hand of Gul'dan, and you just rinse and repeat. But it's very slow to ramp up. So if you get swarmed, you have to keep your tank demon alive long enough for it to get aggro and everything, so you don't get swarmed, and then build up your damage.
Fun until they swarm you.
Exactly. But it's a very fun class to play. It's odd for having that many demons. You think it'd be a really good AoE class, and it's not. You have to focus all the demons' attention on one thing and burn it down, and then they can go to the next thing. So, but it's fun. I just got the invasion done right before this, and now I'm waiting on the class order hall to do the 5 missions and get my, I think, 7th or 8th follower there, and then go back to the Broken Shore and get the next part of the quest. I forget what comes after the invasion. probably kill 100 demons or do 5 treasure chests or something. But I have enjoyed the story so far. I want to see where it goes. Because you are stealing demons from Mephistroth. You already stole his planet. For those that don't know, the Warlock home class order hall is Mephistroth's planet that you basically kicked him off of. And then you're going after his lieutenants, and you're going to bend them to your will, allegedly, and have them join you. So you're just trying to subvert Mephistroth, who is one of the Legion's big bads, and it's fun.
There's a lot of smack talk coming from your computer, often from those demons. They're mouthy.
There is.
Oh yeah.
They're very mouthy. The skull is great. He's like, that person isn't what they seem like. I'd watch out for them over there because they're not all that they seem. Oh yeah, you got to watch out for him because he's a lot more powerful. So he kind of warns you, like, you're getting into bad stuff, but he's kind of like, no, you're getting into really bad stuff. You need to watch what you're doing.
You know what that reminds me of? I don't think you've read them. Is Bob in the Dresden books? His talking.
Yeah, he's a lot like that. So, but yeah, and then we did Summer of Love. So we did the Remembrance Day parade from the Shrine of the Fallen Hero to Orgrimmar, and that was fun. There was really good time remembering folks at the shrine and talking about Ralph, and then marching into Orgrimmar with our horde balloons and lighting off a bunch of fireworks. A lot of thanks to Grim Cow and the Deja, I think it's Deja Noob team.
I think so, yes.
That did all the fireworks. They did awesome on that in the WoW game. So that's what I have been up to, is mostly focusing on that and dealing with a lot of real life work. So.
Yeah, I heard you had some fun stories about that. You probably don't want to repeat here.
No.
It requires language.
No, exactly.
And by the way, it smelled like burning.
Yeah, exactly.
I was sitting there working because I actually got to work from home a few days this week, and there's a lot of lovely acrid smell, and I was like, "Do you smell that?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's coming from your lab."
Yeah, exactly.
Luckily, it's not like it's an alchemist lab.
No,
which is even worse when you smell something weird coming from there. But yeah, no, not a good time.
No, it was one of these, which is a server power supply, and all the magic smoke decided to go out of it. Thankfully, the server had 2 of these, so I just had to pull this out and turn the other one on, and it all worked. Now I've got a replacement one for it, so everything's good.
Yay!
Yep. Yeah, things go bad when that magic smoke gets out.
Yeah, it's like the genie from hell. I mean, in the bottle.
Exactly.
So, Ted, would you say Remembrance Day was your favorite part of Summer of Love?
It is. The Summer of Love, I didn't get to participate in some of the other activities just because of schedules and stuff, but Remembrance Day is definitely one of my favorite, although listening to everyone do the running of the beef and the coop, it's just seeing all that activity is amazing. Seeing all the achievements come up for coop and stuff like that. But Mew, what is your favorite part of Remembrance Day?
Or Summer of Love.
Sorry, that's what I meant, Summer of Love.
Sorry, you know what? I'm a woman. I'm going to correct you. I apologize.
Yeah, no, my favorite part was just seeing that now that, and we probably haven't mentioned enough yet, or we have, that Final Fantasy 14's AIE branch is now on Goblin. It's no longer locked away on Gilgamesh. So you can join us, and we encourage you to join us. Please join us. We'll invite you. We will throw all kinds of goodies your way. And as a result of us being on Goblin, we have a lot more players. It's very active, and the Summer of Love was no exception. We started with the wedding, which had a great turnout. We had the Remembrance Day, which had a great turnout. It just activity everywhere. It was great to see which has already been very active, but even more active because of Summer of Love. We had the Friday Fun Day, which is a normal ongoing thing, but we had that going, and it was just nice to see just how active things are in that game, showing us that while WoW is the biggest part of us, it's not the only part of us. There's a lot more to our community, and so that's kind of what I like to see. I like seeing how it's growing beyond that, and just it's very interesting that way.
Very much so. And I know for me, you know, one of my things that made me the happiest is, you know, piggybacking on what you're saying, is that it wasn't just a WoW thing. Yes, WoW's where we got our start. However, the celebrations expanded through the games, and if it was something simple and solemn as, you know, Captain Sybil, you know, taking care of STO and standing there and keeping that flame going for us, or the huge Remembrance Day parade, or opening up the guild hall. It expanded through the games, and it's great as a great reminder that we are not just a game, we're a gaming community, and we love every piece of that community, not just the ones that might get the most attention or have the most players.
Yep, very, very true.
All right, so now a completely different topic of question.
But still related.
But still related, because Ted threw this one out there, and I think it's a great thing to discuss. With Russell Brower, no longer the official voice, I guess, of music at Blizzard. Let's talk about music and games. What have been some of your favorite pieces of music? And it's not just WoW games, or not just Blizzard games. So Ted, what about you?
Well, the most recent one that sticks with me still through, you know, it's been a few expansions, but that I always love Asian music, the Asian themed music, and Miss Pandaria still holds a very special place. That soundtrack, I will just put that soundtrack on to Code 2, to Work 2, because it is just such a ambient, you know, almost mystical soundtrack where that music just kind of flows and it draws pictures in your mind from the music. Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
That if I go all the way back, one of my favorite pieces of music was from the Bard's Tale campaign back when I was playing it on the Commodore 64 growing up.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's 8-bit music, but it was, you know, it was the Bard's Tale, so it had music, and you'd hit different ends, you'd hit different parts in the dungeon, and you'd get that 8-bit, you know, music, and I could still hear a lot of that today. And then it's interesting because Star Wars has a dual place, both the movies and the game itself, in the Old Republic, because you'll hear a certain piece of music and I almost have to pause now and think, okay, wait a minute, was that in the movies or did that come out of the Star Wars game? Because they've done such a good job of putting the music in the game and keeping it true to the whole theme of the you know, the what I call the John Williams Star Wars music verse. So
I can tell you there is no music in the world that stirs my soul the way Star Wars does.
Yeah.
You know, it just suddenly, you know, you're 5 again and at the theater and just makes you happy or scared or inspired just by the very sound of it.
Yeah. I mean, the Imperial March comes on and you almost have to just pause and go, okay, wait a minute, what is going on at the Imperial March? And then I know you have it as a ringtone for a couple of...
Alicaz has it, and there's a few friends that have it.
Yeah.
And also Duel of the Fates is the other one that I do a lot.
Right. So, yeah, you hear that music and it gets you, but they've done a really good job in the Star Wars game of integrating the music as well into the game, and so exactly.
One second, I need to put my phone on mute, guys. Al's texting me.
So, Mew, what about you?
Oh, there's so many, but I mean, to piggyback on there, I think one of the best things like about the SWTOR expansions is every time there's a new expansion, guess what song starts it out when you start that scroll? I mean, it's you get those chills every time you're starting a new expansion. You can't help it. It's just there, you know.
Right.
And it's few songs that can do that. But For the most part, I'd say a big part of it that kind of I like to come back to a lot is the Fallout series. The Fallout series kind of has this 1950s music aesthetic going on. It's not nostalgic, obviously, but it's very, it just gets you in the mood. I mean, yes, it is nuclear fallout, but it's like, 1950s nuclear fallout. It's kind of a interesting. It sets the whole scene for you, not just visually, but it gives you that obviously oral type of theme to it. And it just you every new version of the game that comes out, and they have another batch of that music, and it's just so interesting. I mean, and also they even have radio plays, very 1930s, 40s, 50s radio plays. I mean, it's just it's such an interesting world, and it really sucks you in to have that kind of stuff helping you out. And to one of my more favorite subjects, Final Fantasy 14. The Final Fantasy series has a lot of very iconic music, and you can hear it in pretty much everything they're doing in Final Fantasy 14, especially the dungeons. It just really gets you into the theme of the dungeon, because each one is different. Each one has its own theme song, essentially. Even the bosses themselves, especially if you're doing what they call trials, where your main focus is just one giant boss that you have to take down. Some of them really get rocking. I mean, like actual rock. It's one of the few times where you actually hear words. Someone's actually singing something while you're battling this huge monster. Someone is jamming out and like rocks up singing as you're taking this thing down, and it just really gets you amped. It's very fascinating. And they don't just have that serious stuff. They also have a lot of kind of goofy, silly music too. There's a quest series that it's a very beloved series, the Hildebrand series, and it has its own unique song. In fact, it's not that hard to find. It's Hildebrand. His theme is very iconic. I probably should have had that. Actually,
it's okay.
Here we go.
And while you're looking that up, real quick, oh, you got it?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's very. He's the agent of inquiry. He's the gentleman, inspector, and it's this kind of. Great. It's. I won't say it doesn't bring you out of the game, but it's its own thing. Like you're in the world, but like you're living in this world. It's not just all about you're trying to save the world. No, you now have this inept inspector trying to doing regular run of the mill hey, something's missing, or this person was killed. What happened? I mean, it's
like a musical cue almost.
Yeah.
Or kind of shifts your mind.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so well done, and it's I'm amazed by the composers they have here. There's for those that have played Kingdom Hearts, you can the same guy that did the music for Kingdom Hearts has done lots of stuff. Let me see if I can find a good.
Hordling loves Kingdom Hearts music.
Yeah. This guy here, this written right here will make you think of Kingdom Hearts. I mean, it's actually it reminds me of the Nightmare. Yeah. It's the same guy, and so it's
okay.
It's such and this is a boss fight with Muggles.
Gotcha.
So it's kind of goofy, but it's also serious, and you're kind of rocking along to it. I mean, it's. They do a really good job over there. Just as WoW has such a a very powerful composer set. I mean, they too have amazing, and just like WoW has actual orchestras, they too will actually bring in the Japan Philharmonic to do their stuff.
Right.
And
cool.
When companies do that, like it really brings an extra oomph to whatever they're doing. They bring in a real orchestra. It's not just little stuff you're doing. Not just blips on a screen. It's actual people doing it. It just brings an oomph to it.
Well, it gives a lot of emotion and passion to it, no matter what it is.
Yeah, definitely. It just really gets you into the game, and And then finally, the since I've been playing a lot of it, Breath of the Wild, Zelda music has always been.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And you'll have probably more to talk about that, but yeah, I have so many remixes of all the major Zelda songs in my phone that are constantly playing.
So does Rye.
Yeah, they're really good, and it's that theme, it's that core theme. They've found a core theme that they can always bring a new version of it to each game.
That resonates. Yep.
Yeah, you're playing along like in Breath of the Wild, and all of a sudden you hear hints of Zelda's theme. You're like, hey, I know that song, and it's kind of like
right.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting that way.
Last fall, we actually had a chance, and if it comes through, go see it. We went to the Symphony of the Goddess at Symphony Hall here, and it was breathtaking. And of course, our teenager is a huge Zelda fan, and she was just smiling huge the entire time.
Yeah.
But you're right. The music from Zelda is just so gorgeous and has a biological feel to it. What word am I looking for?
Natural.
Yeah, very natural feeling to it. But also it's the hero's journey.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. What about you, McCullough?
So for when it comes to Blizzard, of course, Wrath, because that's where I'm a Wrath baby. I'll admit it. The entire sound of that expansion to me, because it had such a great range. There was music that was very menacing, and music that was very heroic and fun, and music that was very ethereal. And of course, I love fiddles.
Grizzly Hills.
Exactly. You give me a Celtic fiddle, and I'm good any day. And so I love the way and they do this really well in WoW. In any case, how every zone had its own feel, and again, those sound cues. Yeah, it really does kind of give you an idea of what you're dealing with, which I adore.
Yeah.
And I have a good friend at work, and he'll just, on occasion, just say, just having a rough day, just listen to this. And he'll let him send me video game music. So like Red Dead Redemption, I love, because I grew up listening to country western music. So I really enjoy that, but it also gives that feeling of like the Weird West. So I really enjoy that. Not quite steampunk, not quite Wild West, but somewhere in between. And it very much has, like, even music that I love now, it reminds me of like the Roger Clyne and the Peacemaker type of music that's very Southwest based. And the other one that I've found that I absolutely adore and listen to for hours is BioShock.
Mm.
The stuff from BioShock. Because it's comfortable. It's kind of familiar because it's taking songs that but it gives it this really great dissonance by making them feel different. And I think that's kind of brilliant, because when you're dealing with something that is just it's off kilter.
Yeah.
So I love that. And
Exactly.
I love the way different composers and different companies choose to use music in games. And it really does kind of give you a feel of what you're in for.
Yeah, I mean, with BioShock kind of being, the alternate reality of us, they kind of have the ultimate reality versions of those songs. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah. And it plays off so well.
Definitely.
So, anything else on music, guys? Because we could probably go on for hours, and Game of Thrones is about to start.
Exactly. I think we hit the Game of Thrones time. So
Game of Thrones wall. All right. I do love our the Game of Thrones wall that we have going on right now. So that is it for our show tonight. While our amazing chat room begins suggesting show titles, we want to thank you guys for joining us. Chat room, we couldn't do this without you. We would love all the listeners that download the show and give us feedback. So thank you so much.
We're here for you.
Yes.
Yep. And I'm trying to find, there was one shout out that I swear I put in there, but I don't see it. Aha. Give me just a second. Shout out to the AIE Guild for helping me find a place I can truly be me. I want to say thanks to everyone, and that is from Marcus B., who is in Star Wars, and shout out to the Star Wars Guildies because they are the best. Yep, and Marcus is having a lot of fun in Star Wars. In Star Wars: The Old Republic, chatting it up. In fact, he's started a weekend ops team there, so give him a shout out on the forums as well. So, all right. If you have a question or comment about our show, you can email us at podcast@aie-guild.org. You can also follow us on Twitter. The show is at AIE Podcast. Mew is at the Mew Cow. McCullough is at Cyberwave, and I am at Ivory Tiger. We record live with video every other Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. You can join the chat room and play along with us at our website, aie-guild.org/podcast-live-stream, and our Discord server for chat is bit.ly/AIE Podcast Discord. Our theme was composed by the amazing Andrew Allen. Follow him at Keys with Soul or visit his website at keyswithsoul.com.
And if you need an invite to Final Fantasy XIV, use that Twitter. I will gladly bring you in. And now it's time to play all of the great AIE Magmer segments we have, including, well, whatever happens to show up if we get anything. A little light on things. It's almost as if they've been distracted playing something else. Hey, if you want to submit any kind of segments, just send it to the email for our show, and we'll happily put them on.
Awesome. And next time we'll be talking about something in AIE. I'm still trying to wrangle Eve around, but that'll be in 2 weeks, approximately, unless schedules vary. So until then, AIE, this is McCullough.
This is Tetsemi.
This is Muka.
And this has been the AIE Podcast.
Yay! Thank you, Windows.
All right. All right. So Max has Sounds of Summer. Sybil has A Murder of Crows. Guildies. Oh, that's cute. Dying for a New Guild Hall. And AIE Gaming Music Critiques.
I actually like The Murder of Crows and The Hitching of Guildies.
Me too. That's actually great. What's your thought? Because they're all really good.
Yeah, probably that's more inclusive of what was going on. The other ones are good, but were almost narrow focused. So yeah,
I do like The Sounds of Summer, though.
Well, yeah,
but I think we have to go with the Murder of Crows and the Hitching of Guildies. That's a good show title.
Especially for the Summer of Love, we have Murder and Hitching. It works.
Yep.
Please.
It's when the family gets together, funerals and marriages.
Tell me about it. I mean, I have a small family. There's a much better chance of the funerals than the marriages.
Yep, exactly. All right. Well, thank you, Showroom. We're going to cut the feed and get people dinner and that sort of thing. And
before I get raid, before I game, I should probably get some work done.
Maybe. All right. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye.